Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and I'm with Katie Schide. It's the week of the 2019 Madeira Island Ultra-Trail. Hey Katie, we're on Madeira Island.
Yeah, thanks, Megan.
It's kind of a pretty exotic location to have an interview and to have a race.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool island, and we were here last year, so we're excited to be back again and have a bit more time to explore.
Yeah, you're staying for a week or a week plus this time?
Yeah, 10 days this time. Yeah.
Fantastic, just perfect.
Yeah.
Have a little vacation, then wreck your legs next weekend.
Exactly. Yep. And then a few days to recover the legs before taking the plane again.
Always the hardest part after an ultra is the plane ride home.
Yeah, definitely. It gets pretty crampy sometimes.
All right, so you're American, I'm American, but this is my first time watching you race and our first time interviewing you. You're an American living abroad, though. You call yourself an expat?
Yeah, I think at this point it's safe to say I'm an expat. It's been 2.5 years now, almost 3, so yep.
So what's your story? You are pursuing a PhD in Switzerland?
Yep, so I'm doing my PhD in geology at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich.
And I think you said before the interview you're studying geomorphology. Specifically, what are you working on?
So I actually study landslides that are caused by the 2015 earthquake that was in Nepal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And does that mean you're spending time in Nepal, or are you using mapping and satellite technology, or
Yes.
how do you do your work?
So both of those things.
Okay.
We travel to Nepal. I've been 4 times since I started at UTH, and we also use satellite imagery, and we take drone imagery when we're there to reference back. Yeah.
Wow. Are you working in like the Langtang Valley or a more discrete area?
Yeah, we work a bit in Langtang. We work mostly in 3 different valleys.
Okay.
One of them is Langtang. The other is the Annapurna Range. It's a popular trekking route, but we go there by car and wave to all the people who are walking.
We go there by car.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really interesting PhD. And we're on a pretty geologically amazing island, so I just have to ask your quick thoughts on Madeira geology and how much you're looking at the rocks as you're running around here.
Well, I definitely am always looking at rocks when I'm running. Here, it's a volcanic island, so it's a lot of basalt. So it's interesting, but there isn't a lot of variety. So in some ways it's exciting, in some ways it's kind of boring.
I love that like volcanic geology is quote unquote kind of boring.
Well, it's all the same thing.
That's amazing. And so you previously lived in Utah, like the Salt Lake area, while you were getting your master's degree, and kind of looking at race results, that looks like when and how you got into trail running?
Yeah, I was actually hiking a lot in high school.
Okay.
And then when I was in college in Vermont, I was spending all my summers working in mountain huts in New Hampshire. And we did a lot of like fast hiking there, which I would now look back and call trail running. But then to us, we were just hiking because the terrain was so technical, you couldn't like run like you would on the road. So I was really into these big long day hikes. And then when I moved to Utah, I was just looking for kind of just running because I had always liked running, and realized that this hiking was called running, and that there was also these things that were races where there was like official start times. And I just signed up for a few just to like as a challenge to see if I could finish, and found some success there and really liked the community and kind of stuck with it after that.
So looking at your early race results, but early we're talking like circa 2015, so it's really not too long ago. Do I have that right?
2015. Yeah, I think my first race that would be like a real result was in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were kind of doing like the big races in Utah, like Red Hot Moab and Speed Goat 50K. Did you know that you were kind of like entering the big races and then actually doing well at them? Like, was that part of the mentality?
Yeah, I didn't really know the Speed Goat was like a big race. I just saw it as like a big challenge, and it was close to where I was living, so it was more convenient. The same with the Red Hot. So I think I was more just picking all the races near me in Salt Lake. so that I didn't have to travel that much.
Okay.
It was all driving distance. But yeah, looking back, I see that they were actually bigger races.
And just to sort of set the record straight, did you do collegiate sports or high school sports or anything before trail running?
Growing up, I played like every sport we had, but I focused more on field hockey.
Okay.
And I played field hockey at Middlebury College just my first year, and then decided to spend more time. I just found a different community of people that were more into like going hiking on the weekends, and I just wanted to pursue that more and take sports a bit less seriously.
Um, do you consider yourself somebody who takes sports seriously now or pretty unseriously?
Uh, I mean, honestly, yeah, just to even fly to a race, I think when you're flying to a race, you're making a commitment to something. So, yeah, I definitely take running seriously in some ways, like when I'm focusing on a big race or preparing for something, then yeah, it matters to me. But I also try not to make it like the focus of everything. Like I have to, there's other things to do, like enjoy the island than just race.
Have a vacation in addition to running?
Exactly, yeah.
So you, in the last couple of years of living and working and running in Europe, you found some success. You ran Les Templiers 2 editions ago, and you were in the top 10 there. And then last year, you had a great showing at CCC, and you won the 85K distance here in Madeira. How are you feeling about, sort of your growing results over the last couple of years, looking towards now and this race this year?
Yeah, I think since moving to Zurich, I've definitely like been improving each year, and I feel that just in my day-to-day runs and also in, I think it shows in my race results too. But I'm still trying to figure out like what types of races I like, and I did a few shorter sky races when I first moved to Europe, because I have a friend who does that a lot, and then I tried some longer stuff, and now I still feel like I'm moving around trying to figure out what works. But it's also fun to try new things and not really know what's going to happen each time.
Speaking of sort of trying new things, like you ran the 85K distance here, and full disclosure, I did that race a couple years ago, and I thought that was like plenty of kilometers on this island. It took kind of a long time. You were pretty worked at the end of the day, but you're back a year later to do the longer edition, the 115 kilometer. You're like, increasing your time out by 50% with this race. What's made you not only come back to the same place to race, but to go for the longer one?
I still remember last year when I was pretty close to the finish. I mean, I didn't feel awesome, obviously. I was pretty exhausted.
Like 10 hours in?
Yeah.
We're going to be a little tired.
But I remember thinking like, I really want to do the longer race next year. More for me, I really like maps, and we didn't draw the line across the whole island, so I feel like there's this chunk that needs to be finished. And I really like these point-to-point races where you like traverse something, or at UTMB like pass around a mountain range, or yeah. So I think I need to draw the full line.
Which you're going to do in just a couple days.
Yeah.
Now, an interesting element to this race is that it's a midnight start. So you start by going through almost the full night, and we're pretty far out in this time zone, so it gets light really late. Like it's barely light at 7 a.m. So it's literally a full night of running.
Yeah, I think it'll be around 7 hours in the dark, which I've never done before. I've never done a night start actually, so yeah, that's like a new exciting aspect, a new thing to try, see how it goes.
And you've been out on the part of the course that's new to you, going to see the first bit of trail. What are your thoughts about night running up there?
Well, actually, 2 days ago it was all fog, so I feel like that's a good prep. No views.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of a bummer to miss some of those sections at night, but there is a bunch in the trees that I guess we wouldn't be missing too many views. And certainly the end of the race, as you know, is really beautiful along the cliffs. So I'm not sure I would want that to be at night either. So
Sure.
There's some trade-offs.
You have to do something in the night.
Yeah.
Madeira we're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We're way out off the coast of North Africa. it's just a really interesting place to be culturally and like food wise and people wise. What are some of the things that you're really enjoying this week?
Well, my favorite thing about Madeira that I remember from last year is the bolo, the bread that's like it's kind of like an oversized English muffin, and then it's filled with like garlic and butter.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure it's fresh garlic from the island because I've seen garlic all over the place. Those are really good. I think that's definitely easily the top of my list.
Amen. The end.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a pre-race, like fueling up, or a post-race indulgence?
I think both. Maybe during. I can't remember if they had them at aid stations last year, but if I see one at an aid station, I'll certainly be eating it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great way to end this interview. So it's great to get to know you, and good luck this weekend at Madeira Island Ultra-Trail.
Thanks. Nice to meet you too.